I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of October 14th, 2015. Another stellar week in the world of new comics. For those of you just joining us, we are from the comic shop Alter Ego Comics, located in Lima, Ohio. The name should give that away when we call it Alter Ego Comics TV. But for new viewers, you need to know who we are. We've been open for 10 years. We love comics. We think they're awesome. We read all of the new releases, or as many as we can stomach, the Tuesday night before new release day, and then we report back and let you know what we think you should pick up. My pick of the week is Superman, Lois and Clark, #1, written by Dan Jurgens, art by one of my all-time faves, Lee Weeks. Glad to have Lee Weeks back on a regular title. So this is the story. I gotta stop using using 90s song references when I start speaking. So, this convergence thing happened in the DC universe over the summer where it turns out Brainiac or Telos or someone was...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. All you need to know
Something
is that
happened.
This Lois and Clark is the Lois and Clark prior to the New 52.
It's Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
It is not. Nowhere near. It is the Superman that we all knew and loved before the New 52 gave him underwear on the outside.
On the inside.
On the inside.
Yeah, the old one has that.
And armor, and made him younger, and all kinds of fun stuff. So, Superman and Lois are married, they have a child, and they are now part of the New 52 universe. They know that there's another Superman. They've kind of witnessed the formation of the Justice League 5 years ago, and now we're in present day, and their son is approximately 6, I would say, 7, although he appears to be a little bit older. But
yeah, they've drawn him older, but yeah, in order for it to be the present, he has to be 6 or so.
And because they are Lois and Clark, they are compelled to do what they always do, which is fight the good fight, right wrongs, etc., but in secret. So Lois is an author writing tremendous books and exposés, but not using her real name. Her name is Author X. Clark is, a mild-mannered guy, but he's also trying to prevent the villains from his world from developing on this New 52 world. It is just a really solid story, and this is right up the alley of anybody that misses the good old Superman. Although, obviously, we still enjoy lots of what's going on in the Superman books, this just feels right. And especially with the artwork by Weeks. Just totally blown away. So if you're looking for a great story where Superman and Lois are married and have a child and are trying to fit in a world that's not their own, this is the one for you. Superman, Lois and Clark, #1, available at all fine comic shops everywhere.
My pick of the week this week is Switch. This is by Stefan Sepchik, both words and music. And this is actually started as a kind of a side project he did for his DeviantArt page, where he did an unlicensed new version of Witchblade, kind of just its own universe, a new bearer to the artifact. And then once he accumulated a certain amount of it, the people at Top Cow and the other creators on the series are like, "Oh, this is actually really good. Let's put it out." And now it is out, and you can get it. So we've got a young girl who's in. She's in the mid-teens.
She's in high school, right?
She's in high school, yeah, but she's not like 18. She's like, what, 15 or 14?
Yeah, she's
younger.
I think she can drive. She's 15 or 16.
Drive? Okay.
This really is irrelevant. But she.
Well, no, it actually is kind of relevant because she has
school.
all of the problems that are relevant to being that. Is, you're not done yet. She feels awkward and
she has a big zit on her head.
Yes, she sees all of these past bearers of the Witchblade who have been these beautiful, intelligent, capable women, and she doesn't feel like she can be that. But lucky for her, when you get the Witchblade, apparently it gives you sidekicks in your head that will talk to you. So the past bearers of the Witchblade can influence her and give her their wisdom, or in some cases sort of almost take over or work with her to help fight forces. And we get a lot of the other stuff from the Top Cow universe, the artifact stuff. The darkness plays a significant role. And it's just fun to see a cool new Witchblade story drawn by Sepchik in his traditional awesome style.
And I am a huge fan of Ron Mars and Stepchik's run on Witchblade. I think it is one of the best female heroine stories in comics. And they were on the book for so long. I mean, I want to say it was probably close to 100 issues, if not that. And told an amazing story with Sarah Pichelli. So now we get this new character, we get amazing artwork, we get things that are familiar yet different. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Is Sarah Pichelli her name? Isn't Sarah Pichelli a penciler?
Maybe. I don't know.
She was the penciler on.
Yeah, I know
Ultimate
who
Spider-Man.
that is, but I'm. What's her name? Pizzini.
Pizzini.
That's
there
her
we go.
name. Yes. Okay. Ding. That little light bulb went off in my head. Completely side note. You don't watch Modern Family, right?
No, not regularly.
Okay, so I watched the latest episode of Modern Family last night, and Alex, the middle kid, is just starting college, the girl. And there's a giant Ms. Marvel poster in her dorm room.
Excellent.
It's all kinds of awesome. I squealed when I saw that. Anyway, so, yay, Modern Family. Owned by Disney. Airs on ABC, owned by Disney, who also owns Marvel. Okay, next up, speaking of Disney and Marvel and things owned by Disney, we've got Star Wars Chewbacca, #1. This is a miniseries by Jerry Dugan, who you may know as the writer of Deadpool, and Phil Noto, who you may know as the drawer of awesome stuff. Phil Noto does an amazing job with the artwork on here, and I didn't know how this was going to play out as Chewbacca. He makes a lot of Wookiee noises that I don't speak Kashyyyk or Wookieese or whatever it is.
Shriwook.
Yes, but what this is it's after, like all the new Star Wars stuff takes place after the Battle of Yavin, and Chewbacca's kind of off on some R&R, taking a break from the action, and he gets pulled into a kind of a local dispute with a father and daughter that are kind of being railroaded by a boss hog type of character, for lack of a better term. And Chewie gets pulled into it. The girl is, a teenager, probably same age as Witchblade Girl, Switch Girl, and she persuades Chewbacca to help her and her father, even though you can tell by Chewbacca's growling that he's kind of doing this against. He's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today, and then he turns around and he's working with him. Two great things about this. Number one, it's filled with humor, but it's relatable at the same time. It's a funny book. I mean, they really make Chewbacca seem like he's this really funny character. And number two, Jerry Dugan, there are no subtitles for what Chewbacca's saying. We're just getting the growls and word balloons, and the girl is interpreting what he's saying, and she doesn't speak his language either. So it's really cool the way that they do it. If you're reading any of the Star Wars books from Marvel, this one is highly recommended just as much as the other ones. If you're a Chewie fan, this is a must-buy, but I really enjoyed it.
Next up, new #1 from Marvel. We've got New Avengers #1, written by Al Ewing with art by Gerardo Sandoval. And this is the redheaded stepchild of the Avengers books. This is
Justice League United.
Yes. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because there are certain things you can't do in Avengers that you can get away with and stuff like this that's more fun. And that's exactly what Ewing is doing. He's having a lot of fun. We've got the AIM, which is now owned by Roberto D'Agasta. Roberto? Yeah. Also known as Sunspot from the New Mutants. He bought out AIM with their island and their sort of sovereign international waters place, and has turned it from advanced idea mechanics into Avengers idea mechanics. They're sort of an unsanctioned Avengers team made up of, we've got some young Avengers in there, Hulkling and Wiccan. We've got Squirrel Girl, we've got Power Man and White Tiger, the younger Power Man, not Luke Cage. Songbird, is that her name? Yeah, from the Thunderbolts, and of course D'Agasta himself. And they're dealing both with fighting bad guys, but also with S.H.I.E.L.D. thinks they're a rogue nation to a certain extent, in which they essentially are. They're an island that doesn't have to answer to anybody. And what I really liked about this was the humor. The interactions with the characters. I'm not the world's biggest Squirrel Girl fan, but I loved her in this issue, the way she interacted with the other characters, the way her dialogue worked. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Tippy Toe is also on the team, her squirrel. And yeah, so if you want Avengers that are a little lighter, a little more enjoyable, or have, maybe some of your favorite characters that don't see as much action, New Avengers is the place to find it.
Well, and also there is a real Avenger grown-up on the team, because he's been forced.
Are we going to call Clint Barton a grown-up?
By age, he's a grown-up, but yes, S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of forcing Hawkeye onto the team to keep tabs on these new Avengers and Avengers idea mechanics. I thoroughly enjoyed this one as well. I didn't know what to expect. I know very little about the new Power Man, the new White Tiger, Squirrel Girl, even Sunspot. I haven't really cared about Sunspot since I was 15 years old, but I liked the interaction. The way that it's written is extremely awesome, and the artwork is cool. So even if you don't know who these characters are, I would still recommend picking it up because you get all you need to know in the first couple pages. Marvel's been doing a great job about that. Another one that I wasn't planning on picking up, but Josh convinced me to by reminding me that Nick Spencer is the writer on it, is Sam Wilson, Captain America #1. Nick Spencer provides the words, Daniel Acuna provides the artwork, and I like Sam Wilson as Captain America. He's not my Captain America. Right. Steve Rogers is my Captain America. But, so I read the part of the previous series, thought it was okay. Different writer on this series, so we switched from, I think it was Al Ewing writing the other one?
It was Remender on the main book and Ewing on Captain America and the Mighty Avengers.
Gotcha. So based on the strength of Nick Spencer's track record with things like Ant-Man and Morning Glories, I decided to give this a shot. And Superior Foes of Spider-Man, which is one of Josh's favorites of last year or several years ago. I picked this up and was glad that I did. The writing makes me care about these characters. Nick Spencer does a great job of making me care about these characters, the situations that they're in, and I'm assuming that things will be explained maybe as we get to the end of Secret Wars and what happened here. But
well, we see some of it in that issue, but yeah,
S.H.I.E.L.D. wants nothing to do with any Avengers at this point. And they're not happy with Sam Wilson because, and actually, I would say if you're into politics and you're watching the debates and you're interested in what's going on in the world of social issues and politics, this book is right up your alley. Because Falcon decides, you know what, I have this power as a superhero that I need to speak my mind and I need to push my agenda and the things that I believe in. And you don't see that a lot. The superheroes they do their superheroing, but they don't necessarily get out in front of cameras and say, here's what I stand for, and if you need help, call me. Here's my number. But that's what happens in this book. So if you're on the fence about picking up Sam Wilson, Captain America #1, go over the fence, get the book. I think you'll like it.
Don't steal someone else's book from over the fence.
Yes,
get your own.
Over the hedge.
It also features a beloved Marvel character, D-Man. Is it short for Demolition Man?
It's just D-Man.
It's just D-Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
For those of you that remember D-Man, raise your hand. We can't see you, but he had the awesome costume that was kind of a half Wolverine half original Daredevil costume. Yeah. D-Man. T-Man representing.
New #1 this week from Oni Press. We've got Blood Feud, written by Cullen Bunn, who you may remember from such books as Sinestro and anything with Deadpool versus in the title, and Carnage. A lot of the recent Carnage minis have been Cullen Bunn, with art by Drew Moss. I'm sorry.
It's co-written, I think. It's Cullen Bunn and somebody else.
I've got like 3 names. So the writer-artist somewhere in this combination is Cullen Bunn, Drew Moss, and Nick Filardi. This is a kind of Hatfield and McCoy story set in the South in America, in a rural area, your mountainside, Walton Mountain, except the feud, rather than being just normal feuding and a fighting because somebody married somebody's great-grandmother, is got supernatural elements to it. We've got weird spider migrations, and we've got kind of vampire, maybe werewolfy monster people, and it's just a lot of fun. It's Cullen Bunn doing a Southern Gothic kind of horror thing with a sense of humor. Every issue has a cool back cover that is an homage to a classic horror film. This time around we get Friday the 13th. And yeah, if you like what Bunn does on some of his other books, he's good. He has a specific type of tone that is appealing for a book like this. I think this fits really well in his wheelhouse. Horror, but also humor, kind of interwoven.
Yeah,
and realistic.
Lighter on the horror, I think heavier on. I think we were both surprised it was kind of pitched as funnier than it turned out to be.
Right.
But we still were impressed by it. It's if you like The Sixth Gun, which is really what Cullen Bunn his what's the word I'm looking for? His
breakout
claim to fame. His breakout book is The Sixth Gun, also from Oni. I think you'll like this one. But if you're also a fan of classic 80s horror films like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or The Howling, this one also should appeal to you. Just briefly, I want to mention Guardians of the Galaxy #1. This is part of the all-new, all-different Marvel. Still written by Brian Michael Bendis. This time we get artwork by Valerio Schiti. That's right. Schiti. The artwork is not shitty, though, and I'm using that as a last name, folks. Schiti.
So the artwork is shitty.
It's by
If you're
Shitty,
using him as
but
his
it's
last
not
name.
Shitty.
Well, it is.
So here's
good
what
art.
you need to know. Kitty Pryde is the new Star-Lord. The Thing is a new member of the team, and we have returning members Agent Venom, Rocket Raccoon, Drax, and Groot. And this was just a fun book. I love The Thing. I don't think The Thing has been written well. No offense to any of the great writers that have written in the last 10 to 15 years, but
Dan Slott miniseries or the Roger Stern FF?
in a while,
I can't even.
the John Byrne FF is probably the John Byrne miniseries. I don't think The Thing has been handled really well in a long time, and he even said, Bendis even writes in the in the opening pages. The Thing's internal monologue is, this feels right. This is where I'm supposed to be, in space. He's an explorer. He was in space. He got the shaft, and now he's, Rocky and has all the issues that go along with being a giant rock. But he's a great part of this team, I think, with the humor and the infighting, but the family dynamic. I think The Thing is going to be a great member of this team. So really dug it. I hadn't read the last several issues of Bendis' previous Guardian series, but I wanted to check this out solely based on Ben Grimm being part of the team. And it was cool.
Yeah, and while Star-Lord is not a member of the team, he is still in the book. He's running Spartax and
it's explained, because
he's still engaged to Kitty, so they're
as someone who
still
missed
part
out
of
on what happened there. Bendis does a great job of explaining. Here's what happened. Here's why Kitty is the new leader, the new Star-Lord. Arguably, I think Rocket is the leader. And Rocket's dialogue is awesome in this one.
As always. This up from Boombox, we've got Lumberjanes, Beyond Bayleaf. I think this is a one-shot. I don't think it's actually the beginning of a mini or anything. They've got issue 1 on the cover, but I believe it's a one-shot. This is written by Faith Erin Hicks with art by Rosemary Valero O'Connell. Putting 2 O's next to each other like that is just mean. And so if you've heard about Lumberjanes, or if you're enjoying books like Miss Marvel, this is a chance to check it out. You don't need to know anything to pick this up. It's a bunch of girls away at a summer camp who sometimes have adventures of a mythical nature. Aside from just infighting and random summer camp stuff, you may also have to deal with griffins or badgers or whatever. I will also say, if you enjoy the film The Last Unicorn, there's a lot to like in here, reference-wise. But it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's adventure-y. Check out Lumberjanes.
Just as a public service announcement, about a month ago or 6 weeks ago, the first issue of Faster Than Light came out, and Josh and I both fully endorsed it. It was my pick of the week when it came out, and I know a lot of our local folks picked it up and enjoyed it as well. Well, the second issue is out this week, and it is still really solid. It's still worth checking out. Definitely for fans of Star Trek, Aliens, classic sci-fi type stuff. Letter 44, I would throw that in there too. If you like Charles Soule's Letter 44, you'll like Faster Than Light. This is written and drawn by Brian Haberlin, and the reason I mention it because I'm trying to make a point of talking about the second issue of series that if we like the first issue, I want to talk about the second issue so that you know that it wasn't just the first issue was okay, but then we never checked out anything else. So we've had recently things like Plutona and Public Relations and now Faster Than Light, where the second issues have been very worthwhile. There is an interactive 3D app that you can use with Faster Than Light, and Haberlin has done this with several of his previous releases. They weren't released as single comics, they were hardcover graphic novels or giant thingies. But you should download the app. If you pick up the issue, it's on the back cover for where to find the app. But I downloaded it last night just to mess around with it, and it is super cool. I mean, you checked it out on Anomaly, which I think was the first time that they did that. And it tells you it's much better than Marvel's AR app. Marvel's AR app is crap. I could never get it to work on the Marvel stuff. But this one tells you what pages have enhanced content on your mobile device, and you go to the page, and it literally took like 5 seconds for the phone to pick up that I was on a certain page, and then you get like you read. Did you read this?
I read the issue. Yeah.
Okay, so there are these like space slugs that are in this issue. And on one page, it like pops up on the page on your phone, wherever it is, and it's moving around and stuff. And if you point at the back cover of this, you get Captain Forrester's log. that's not what he defecated. That's what he is sending back, and there are multiple options. So there's the log that he's sending back to like NASA. There's the log that he's sending back to the council, and then his personal log. And it's he's basically there dictating his log of what happened in the issue. Super cool and totally worth it. I mean, this is a $2.99 comic with lots of pages, lots of story pages. In fact, there are no ads in this book because it's an image book. And then having the enhanced content makes it totally worthwhile. So if you picked up Faster Than Light #1 and you haven't downloaded the app, I would highly recommend it. If you still haven't gotten on the Faster Than Light train or ship, it's not too late. Pick it up.
Yeah, the #1 movie in America is The Martian, and if you like that, you will like this. So, last up for me is a graphic novel. This is an original graphic novel, Two Brothers by Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba. This is actually based on a novel called The Brothers by Milton Hatum, which is regarded as one of the finest Brazilian novels of the past 3 decades or so. This is the story of a pair of twins who were growing up just before and then during World War II. And the relationship between them, the story takes place through a series of flashbacks before and after, everywhere from 1914 up into the 60s. And it's very, I don't know if you're familiar with Centennial, the novel and TV miniseries, the same kind of thing where you see families evolve and the relationships change over time. Actually, I guess Wuthering Heights would be a good example of this. And it's super awesome. It is black and white. It is... I don't want to call it dense because it's not like Watchmen. It's actually really good from an artistic standpoint as far as using the page and the words to tell the story, but it's not entry-level reading. It's not uplifting. It's about a family kind of disintegrating and destroying themselves because of their pettiness or because of the things that they've done to each other in the past.
So it's like a Russian tragedy?
Yeah.
Grapes of Wrath?
It's not a fun read. It is a great book, but it is not an uplifting thing to read. But one of the things I think is really interesting, the twins are split up at the beginning of World War II. One of them goes to Lebanon. The other one stays in Brazil, where the story is set, where they're from. And then their parents, at least one of their parents, is from Lebanon. So he's going back to visit family or to stay with family during the war. And the gap there, the personalities of these twins who are identical, the differences, the way they change because of the way the world influences them is interesting. And, of course, Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba are twins, so I have to assume...
And they're Brazilian.
Yes.
So
there's probably some influence there.
It could be a true story based... I mean, we know it's a true... Is it a true story?
It's not. I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it may be influenced by the truth, but the original novel was not billed as a true story. So yes. So if you want some cerebral reading, so if you want to read something that will most likely be on the Eisner lists next year, this is where I would start.
Finally, we have an oversight from last week that we want to correct. We did not talk about nor recommend Rowans Ruin #1 from Boom Studios. This is written by Mike Carey, who has written a lot within the Marvel Universe, including the X-Men. He was writer on Hellblazer and Lucifer, and art by Mike Perkins, who was artist on Captain America during Ed Brubaker's run. This is basically 2 women, one in the UK, one in the US, and apparently there are like forums or websites where you can swap houses for a little while.
They made a movie about it not that long ago.
Someone said that. I don't know what that is, but
it's a thing.
I have no interest in those movies. But so this woman in the UK and woman in the US swap houses. The woman in the US wants to get away. I mean, who knows why they swap the house? But the US woman ends up in this kind of traditional English estate that may or may not be haunted. And like creepily haunted. So
I'm going to go on a limb and say it's haunted.
Yeah, it's haunted.
Something's going on.
But it's like it's filled with suspense. It's not an in-your-face gore fest. It's suspense. It was a joy to read. And the problem we had is that we got an advance copy like a month ago, and so we forgot to talk about it last week when it came out. But we did stock it based on that advance copy. The first printing has sold out at the publisher and the distributor, but we still have copies. So if you want to check out kind of a creepy, suspense-filled story, it's a miniseries, 4 issues, by one of the best writers in comics, one of the best writers, period. Mike Carey's a novelist as well. Then Rowans Ruin is something you should check out. We apologize for overlooking it last week. Anything else?
I think we're good. Unless
right.
we forgot something, and then we'll tell you about it next week.
We do want to mention, if you are local, we've got a huge event coming up on October 31st, Halloween Comic Fest, where we'll be giving away over 1,000 trick-or-treat bags filled with 5 different comics. We'll have Sean Forney, who's an artist from Columbus. He's going to be joining us for the first time. We've tried to get Sean here for years, and he will be sketching, and he'll have prints and original art for sale and all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to partner up with the Lima Area Zombie Walk again this year, so that will be part of the day's festivities. What else? Face painting, costume contest. All the information's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/alteregomaniacs. So we hope to see you here for that day. It should be a lot of fun. And, yeah, that's awesome. I'm trying to think. Any parting questions? You have any questions for the audience?
I do not.
There's so much to read this week, I just can't think straight about what we should ask you. If you're reading anything that we didn't talk about that you're really enjoying, please leave a comment so that you can share that with the viewers. We really want... Our mission is to help people find comics that are awesome. So if you think a comic is awesome that we did not necessarily mention, put it in the comments below. As always, we'd appreciate if you give the episode a thumbs up so that people know that you liked it, and share it with your friends and all that kind of fun stuff. And we'll see you real soon.